Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, to the fantasy football breakdown for another thrilling week of fantasy football. I'm going to start you guys off with a joke this week. Fee, knock, knock.
Who's there?
The Buffalo Bills and Dallas Cowboys.
The Buffalo Bills and Dallas Cowboys. Who?
That's it. That's the whole joke. The Buffalo Bills and the Dallas Cowboys are a complete and total joke.
Seriously, they might be.
They are a complete and total joke. And then Vegas has the balls to give the Cowboys 9 points over the Falcons, who have won a few games here and there. And they just got their floor wiped with a completely healthy Cowboys team. I am your host, Wayne Cavati. I'm furious at football. I'm furious at the fantasy football. And I'm joined, as always, by the best co-hosts in fantasy football, Fanduel Fee and Mike Dunton. Dunton, how are you?
I'm great. I'm better than my wife, who's a Bills fan.
Yeah. Hey, you lost to a college football team.
That's what I told her. It didn't go well on Sunday afternoon when I said that like 4 times in an hour. So.
Hey, how are you doing over there? You got a win last week. Cheers to
you. Yeah, thank you. I did get a win over you, which is always fantastic. But fantasy football was
fantasy football. I was talking about your G-men, but yes, you did.
Oh,
you did.
Good job, Fee. Way to be in the game.
That means I got 2 wins.
Yeah.
There you go. And he can do math.
Yeah, fantasy football was a weird beast last week. So yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get into it more.
Yeah, but obviously the big news this week. I do want to touch on one thing real quick, something we touched on last week, and then I want to put it to bed. I want to make perfectly clear because of statements by the bonehead in Green Bay, yet again admitting that he may have misled people. I just want to make one thing clear on last week's show from our end. We didn't care if he was vaccinated. We didn't say that he should be vaccinated. We cared that he lied and he wouldn't own it. Okay. Yeah. Nothing we said last week was a political statement. Nothing we said last week had anything to do with a belief in a vaccine. This was a man who manipulated the system and is out there preaching that he's fighting for his rights. When he's not fighting for his rights, he's deceiving people. Kirk Cousins is out there, okay, saying, I'm not taking the vaccine. He's wearing a mask and he's doing what he needs to do. Aaron Rodgers is a scumbag. And I'm telling you, both of you two right now, we are not mentioning his name. There's no need to ever say to start the guy because you're going to start him in fantasy football. We have talked about this scumbag for long enough on the show that we don't need to mention him ever again. Okay.
Aaron Rodgers free zone is what you're saying?
This is an Aaron Rodgers free zone because I'm tired of him. Every week it changes. He's an egotistical.
He definitely played. We talked about it last week really quick. I know we're not talking about him, but really quick. We talked about it last week. He used words to be the smartest guy in the room. He tried to Jedi mind trick people, right? I will say somewhat bad on the media not to follow up, but at the same time, he never portrayed that he wasn't vaccinated, right? Like
he said, I am immunized and I don't judge those that are not vaccinated in the
exactly. And that's exactly
implying that he got the vaccine and he wouldn't have to wear a mask. Instead of fighting for his rights like someone should do in his position, he manipulated the system. He
used his words. And that's it, right? And then here's my thing. Like, and you both know, as a history teacher, it really bugs me that we're gonna evoke Martin Luther King's words.
Yeah, well, I mean, stood up for a big dumb jock. He's just a big dumb animal. That's really all he is.
Stood up for a principle, like you said, Wayne. Like, hey, Aaron,
he only half quoted him too.
Right.
Nobody's saying he can't play. Nobody's denying him anything if he told the truth and say he wasn't vaccinated. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't going to lose any privileges. He wasn't going to lose any sponsorships. That's not what Martin Luther King was fighting for. He couldn't drink from a water fountain, people. Okay? Right. Aaron Rodgers had everything given to him, and he had nothing he was fighting for. He was lying.
He had nothing to lose. He had nothing to lose by coming out and saying, I'm allergic to something in it, which I still question, but that's fine. He had nothing to lose to say, hey, I don't want to get the vaccine.
Nope.
I'm going to follow the protocols. He had nothing to lose. He, like you said, he wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't going to be fined. Nothing was going to happen. He had nothing to lose. So, yes, fascinating. really quick, shout out to my 15-year-old daughter, who is a Packers fan. You both known this forever. Bust this out on me last week and says, Dad, I think right now the ultimate Packer move would be to sign Colin Kaepernick to show Aaron Rodgers, here's somebody who had something to lose and lost. And I was like, whoa, kudos to you, young lady. So we don't have to get into political there, but it was interesting.
I just don't want to talk about Aaron Rodgers ever again. Right. I don't like, I mean,
it's frustrating.
We said last week when we talk about like Calvin Ridley's and we make fun of them and we talk there, we know enough of Aaron Rodgers' character at this point where I just don't want to talk about it.
The thing is like it came up yesterday. Like, do we believe everything that he said about the Packers leadership and ownership and management? Right? Because now I'm questioning your character there, A-Rod. Like,
you lose that trust.
Yep.
And then obviously, speaking of guys that are the next TO, OBJ is on the free agent market. Sounds like he won't be for very much longer. Sounds like his decision is close to being made. What is it? Saints? What are some of the landing spots? It sounds like Saints are the primary.
Packers were one.
It was Saints, Packers, and there was one. Chiefs. Was it Chiefs? No.
Yes.
Chiefs were definitely one, but
Chiefs, Saints, Packers. That's what
there was one other. There was one other team in there. There was a fourth team.
The three today were Chiefs, Saints, Packers.
Do you think he makes an impact wherever he lands?
He makes an impact in Green Bay with the guy we're not going to talk about as the quarterback. Yeah. He does. As much as we don't want to talk about it, it would be an addition to that offense.
Because now he's the number 2 receiver there.
Right.
Which suits him perfectly. And he would probably thrive in that situation. Depending on how injured he really is with that shoulder.
Right.
That's about
all signs point to him actually having a serious problem there.
And let's not forget Sam Darnold is out. So everyone is going to be scrambling for a backup quarterback in fantasy football for you Sam Darnold rosterers. And then Dalvin Cook, it sounds like he's going to play, but I don't want to comment on that. There's too many stories going around. I want to hear how it plays out.
But I don't like it at all, is what I'm going to say. It's disgusting. The images are terrible. And out like Dalvin said, but I'm sorry. Regardless of the truth, I really don't have a justification for that, and I'll just move on.
Yeah, but let's hear what the truth is before we pass judgment. So let's go on to our locks of the week. Last week, we gave you the Chargers. We won you with the Chargers. I told you the Patriots over the Panthers. Fee stuck with the Bengals again. Ohio football in the NFL is bonkers. It makes no sense. It never, ever will. Cleveland is going to be a shit show. The Bengals are going to lose pretty much 90% of any significant game that they play. So that's where we are with Ohio football. But we did give you the Chargers, and if you listened to us, you would have won some money. So, gentlemen, as we were discussing right before we jumped on this call, the spreads this week are BANANAS. They're outrageous. I'll let you start, Dutton. We'll go with you. Who's your lock of the week?
Yeah, they're just weird spreads. They're weird spreads. They're giving a lot of credit to teams who had bad weeks last week. They're giving a lot of credit to teams who aren't as good as we think they are. Or maybe they're better than we think they are, but we're not seeing it on Sundays. That being said, there's a team that did not play well last week, but I think they can bounce back, and that's the Rams. So I'm taking the Rams -4 over the 49ers. I think that Rams offense is too much for that Niners defense, and I don't trust Jimmy G against the Rams defense.
Yeah, that's fair. FE.
So it's a tough week this week because there are so many games where you had teams that really shit the bed last week, and all of a sudden now we're playing really crappy teams, and now we're like 9 and 10 point favorites. Like
so let's
the
just
Cowboys.
Let's point some of those out, Fee. I got it open right here. The Steelers are 9.5 favorites. They barely won a game.
Barely.
Cowboys are 9 over the Falcons. The Bills are 12 over the Jets. I don't know what a team that loses to the Jacksonville Jaguars has any right being a double-digit favor. The Colts 10.5 over the Jaguars. Again, that's a big spread. The Colts are good. I'm not saying they're not, but they haven't done anything to be like, yeah, they're going to run away with this. Cardinals 10.5 over the Panthers. That's fair because who the hell knows what's going on with the Panthers. Anyway,
But
so
Murray might not play, right? So, but Kyler Murray might not be playing.
Right, we still don't know.
Right.
But it's okay because Colt McCoy is still better than Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes because it's 2021 fantasy football.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in a moment. Fee, who's your pick?
Yeah, this is a disaster, but I had a hard time trying to pick one team, but I decided to go with Baltimore -7.5 against Miami. I don't think Tua is going to play. Even if he does, I'm not sure that it's going to matter too much. I think Baltimore is kind of picking it up recently. I don't like the fact that they're 7.5. I wish it were more like 6.5, so that way you kind of lose the hook there.
Touchdown, you're good.
Right, exactly. But I'm gonna stick with Baltimore minus the 7.5 and just hope they kind of blow out Miami.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I guarantee you, the Titans cover 3 over the Saints. But my lock of the week is the Falcons because I don't think the Cowboys have done anything to merit a 9-point spread. Yes, they're home, but the Falcons playing their worst football has not been as bad as we thought the Falcons were going to be, right? And the Cowboys defense has yet to do one thing that impresses me outside of Diggs, right? So I don't know. I see this game being a lot closer than 9 points. So
it's too because there's a lot of questions. Dak's hurt, Zeke's hurt. Like right now it looks like they're gonna play, but they're banged up, and like the Falcons seem to be. You're right. They're just in games when they shouldn't be in games. They hang around. They find a way to lose, but they hang around for a long time when they're not supposed to. So it's an interesting pick you got there, sir.
So I'm taking the Falcons, but I do think I guarantee the Titans. I mean, the Titans smoked the Rams, right? And they lost the best player in the NFL.
Yeah.
And they smoked arguably one of the best teams. So if there's a team playing hot right now, there's no way the Titans at home to the Saints don't cover 3 points. But I want to go with the Falcons and be crazy.
Isn't it like just a typical letdown spot for them though?
They
had such an amazing week last week. They beat a really good team, and now it's not like they're playing a crappy team. They're playing the Saints, who, while are not the typical Saints that we're used to, are still a very good team, especially on defense.
On defense, they are.
And I don't know if they're going to win the game. It would almost seem like they would have to. 2.5 points.
Their defense is strongest against the run, and the Titans aren't strong at run right now. So they're going to find another way to win.
Right.
Advantage Titans.
Right. Yeah. I was just playing a little bit of devil's advocate.
No,
I agree with you, but I'm just saying, like, it's just been such a weird year that, like, who the hell knows?
Yeah. So Dutton, who do you got?
I don't know. It's tough. Like, I'm with Fee. If that Baltimore line was 6.5, I would be all over that spread. Like, and that's why I stayed away from it for exactly that reason. Right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Falcons 9, that's a lot of points, but I don't know. It's hard. I don't know.
I would go with the Falcons. I feel like they can
keep
it close somewhat.
Let's do the Falcons, but know that I guaranteed the Titans. I want to revisit that next week. We can wait till we can talk about how smart I am in a little bit, because now it's time for Fanduel Fee's stacks of the week. Last week, how did we do? We did pretty good. You had Carr and Renfro connected, Cousins and Jefferson who connected, Dak and Lamb, they stunk, but your value plays all pretty much came through. So who do you got for us this week?
All right. So to start it off, I really love the Brady to Godwin combination. They're playing
right.
Yeah, they're playing Washington. We all know how terrible they are in the secondary.
He's not listening.
And how much they give up to receivers. And I think that Brady, they're coming off a bye.
Yeah, but Godwin's hurt. He might not be playing.
Yeah, well, Antonio Brown is out for sure.
Right, and Godwin might not be playing either. He's hurt.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well, then you just throw in Evans then.
There you go.
You know? I would prefer Godwin. I don't know how hurt he actually is.
He's got a foot or something. It came across my phone today and on my Bucks alerts.
Interesting.
So.
Well, it's something to keep an eye on. I would really like to play Godwin, but if he's that injured, I would go with Evans because
didn't practice today. He's on the injury report.
Nobody practices anymore. That's why they all suck.
So Brady and somebody.
Foot injury.
Okay? Brady and somebody. Go with that. And then the second stack I got for you, and I know Wayne just spoke about how terrible the Cowboys are, but I feel like they need to get it right, and Atlanta's probably a good team to get it right against. It's not a bad play to go with Dak and Amari Cooper and possibly double stack it with Lamb against that Atlanta team. That could be a shootout type game. It might not matter if they win or lose, but it could just be a very big fantasy point game for you. Over to some value plays and maybe just kind of middle of the road plays. I do actually really like Amari Cooper, even as a standalone at 7,300. He's cheaper than CeeDee Lamb, and I think that he comes through this week for you. I really love Terry McLaurin this week against Tampa Bay. We all know that you cannot run against Tampa Bay, and
True.
Washington was likely to be down in this game, so game script favors Terry McLaurin in the passing game. Really like him at 7,100. Love James Conner this week. No Chase Edmonds. He blew up last week. They're playing Carolina, who's just on a downward slope at this point. He's down at 7K, which is not bad for a running back. And I really like J.D. McKissick for the same reasons where Antonio Gibson's still banged up and you can't run against Tampa Bay. And if they figure to be down, McKissick should be out there a whole lot more catching the ball. So I really like him against Tampa Bay at 5,400.
Okay. I like those picks. Let's move over to our starts and sits now. Last week was a nightmare. Going back to how smart I am and being the genius fantasy football player I am, I just want to remind everyone that on last week's show, I said, Jonathan Taylor's your lock of the week. He's going to have 200 total yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 200 total yards exactly and 2 touchdowns. This is coming 1 week after I said that Courtland Sutton was going to have 1 reception for 31 yards in the first quarter, and he had 1 reception for 31 yards. So this all got me thinking. I sit here every week and I look at these stats and I make a spreadsheet and I look who does this against that and that against this, and I come up with these picks for you and they're wrong. So here's what I did this week. Before the show started, I took a nice little swig of a vodka I won't name the name of, but it's very tasty and very good. And if they want to sponsor our show, I'll let you know next week who that vodka is. I have another glass of said vodka in this cup. I have done no research. I'm going to continue drinking this vodka and look at the schedule and pick our starts and sits as we go. And I guarantee you I will be right this week, because the last 2 weeks in fantasy football, I started Cooper Rush at quarterback and Colt McCoy at quarterback, and I won both games.
He
okay?
did.
You take all the numbers, you take all the strategy out of this fantasy football season because you're wasting your damn time. Grab your favorite vodka, put it in a glass, and set your lineup. I'm going to do it for you this week, and we're going to win. Now, last week.
Ladies and gents, he's fired up.
Last week. I'm not even mad. I'm just
watching this episode.
I love it.
I'm just in a good mood.
Give us more.
I've had a drink and a half. Love it. But we didn't do well last week. Derek Carr did well because everyone else did bad, right? That's really what it is. Derek Carr had a decent week, but Josh Allen sucked. Patrick Mahomes sucked. Everyone else sucked. Right? Stafford sucked. Danny Dimes, which we said to start, sucked. When you're good because everyone else sucks doesn't make you the good start. So I don't think that we hit that. I don't think that we nailed that. Even if he outgained most of other people.
He just did better than all the other bad people.
Right. Boston Scott, that backfield is the Patriots. It's the NFC.
Jordan Howard seems to be the guy there.
It seems to be, but then Gainwell got in the end zone too. Who's it going to be? We did hit Hollywood Brown. That was Dutton's pick. That was a great pick. And Gesicki laid a dud against the Texans. Again, in a PPR, he got 8 or 9 points. Is that a dud, or did he just do better than everyone else who did really bad last week? So I don't think that's when I told you to start Gesicki, that's not what I had in mind. So I don't consider us getting that right. So let's move to this week's starts and sits. Let's go to quarterback. I don't have a pick yet, so I'm not going to go first. Dutton, we'll start with you.
I'm starting Derek Carr again because he did so good last week against everybody who was so bad that this week he's going to dominate in a shootout against the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm putting Derek Carr back in the lineup.
I think that's a good pick against that defense. Fee.
Right.
I wanted to go bold this week. And so I'm going to go with a whole bunch of guys that you might not think to start. But I'm going with Teddy Bridgewater this week, playing against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I just think that the Eagles defense can be thrown upon. And Bridgewater has been decent this year, fantasy-wise. He's gotten 16 points, 18 points, 23, 25. If he can get you anywhere between 18 and 25 points, I think it's a solid start.
I'm looking into the crystal cup of vodka, and I'm going Matt Ryan against the Cowboys. Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's been putting up points. He outscored Dak last week. Why can't he outscore him one-on-one? So I'm going Matt Ryan.
All right. So who are we starting? I think we should start Matt Ryan.
I like Carr a lot too. I'm good with cars, but if you want to go Matt Ryan, that works.
Go Matt Ryan because you know what? This week's going to be fun. All right.
Fee, we'll go to you.
All right. Running backs. I talked about him earlier. I'm starting James Conner again. Only running back in Arizona. Kyler Murray banged up. Carolina defense not good.
I like it. Dutton.
I'm starting Aaron Jones because if the Packers would have remembered they had Aaron Jones on the team last week, they would have won that game. Why are they not throwing screen passes to Aaron Jones? I have no idea. I don't understand the game plan. Clearly, Jordan Love, the lights were too big for him until late in the fourth quarter, he kind of figured some stuff out. They did not utilize Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones needs a comeback game. I'm starting Aaron Jones.
I like it. I'm looking deep into the crystal vodka. I'm not going to go Jonathan Taylor again because Jonathan Taylor is going to have 173 total yards and 2 touchdowns against the Jaguars. Najee Harris is going to total 154 yards and 2 touchdowns himself. But your start of the week, I just had it and I forgot. Oh, Devonte Williams of the Broncos against the Eagles. He's feasting on the NFC East.
That's a bad start there, buddy. He is on fire.
And he is your start of the week. I'm telling you right now, that's who it is.
What about Melvin Gordon?
That guy's a bum. It's Devonte Williams. That's my guy. It's hard to sit Connor right now. The guy's getting end zone.
James Conner's the guy.
Ridiculous rate. So I'm good with that. All right. So wide receiver, Dutton, you get it started.
I talked Fee into why he should stack him with Tom Brady because everybody else is hurt. It's Mike Evans. Everybody else is hurt. It's Mike Evans.
Fee.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a solid play. I didn't know about Godwin.
Yeah.
Evans is definitely going to be the huge beneficiary of that. And I like it. I'm starting Amari Cooper against Atlanta for all the reasons I mentioned earlier about him being a solid start for Fanduel. Atlanta's just not good. I think the Cowboys bounce back. I'm not sure that they cover the points, but it should be kind of a shootout type of a game. And with them only scoring they scored 16 points, but it was more like 0.
Right.
Yeah. So I think they're going to come out, get like gangbusters and try and score a whole bunch of points. I think Amari Cooper is a big beneficiary of that. So.
All right. Coop, a dupe. I'm looking deep into the crystal. I kind of want to go Hollywood Brown again against the Dolphins, but you know me, I don't like Thursday night, so I'm not going to go Hollywood Brown. I don't suggest that. So since I'm going Matt, no, I'm not going to go there either because I don't like Diggs. Let's go Thielen it. I'm feeling it. The guy's he's still a red zone target. Adam Thielen's my pick against the Chargers. I think that game could turn into a shootout. That's my pick. I mean, it's hard to go against Mike Evans against the soft defense and being the only guy, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he should get peppered with targets. I mean, he's going to have like 18 targets and like 12 catches.
Let's remember, too, that they're coming off of a loss and a bye. I'm sure Tom Brady's got some ridiculous record coming off of a bye and a loss or something where, he throws for 1 million touchdowns or something. So,
yeah, you're right. I don't know that you're right exactly, but it's probably close to that.
You know what I'm saying? That they're going to on you on Sunday about Tom Brady coming off a bye and a loss is this amount of games that he's won, and here's his percentage. And yeah, you'll hear it. Don't worry.
Yeah. Let's go to tight end. Fee.
I am starting Dan Arnold against the Indianapolis Colts. I know that Jacksonville is bad, but Dan Arnold has been getting a ton of targets and a ton of volume. Trevor Lawrence has finally figured out that he can use his tight end as an outlet when he gets attacked by the defense. And the Colts figure to be up heavily in this game. And so Trevor Lawrence is going to have to throw the ball. And I really like Dan Arnold to get a whole bunch of targets and a whole bunch of catches this week.
I like it. I've done. I like your pick too. Go ahead.
Pat Freiermuth, Ben Roethlisberger's new favorite target, and sorry, his new favorite.
Who has the vodka over here?
It's his new target, and it's perfect because he can't throw the ball deep, so he throws the ball 8 yards to his tight end, and it's great. It's working out fabulous. So I'm going with Pat Freiermuth.
He's been great.
Yes.
I'm just gonna throw. I mean, Kyle Pitts is a lock, right? You can't. Everyone's starting Kyle Pitts, so I'm gonna throw out Hunter Henry. Why not against the Browns? But I like Steelers fella. What do they yell? It sounds like they're yelling Heath. Like
I think they yell Muth.
Oh,
yeah.
It sounds like the old Heath Miller days. That's what.
I bring it back. They Pittsburgh people. They love that. So.
All right. So a quick review. Matt Ryan is your consensus start at quarterback. James Conner at running back. Mike Evans at wide receiver, and Muth at tight end. I like it. You're probably right. That's what they're saying. Let's go to quarterback sits. Or I'm sorry, real quick. Let's review sits. We said to sit. Okay, go ahead.
I just want to point out that I said to sit Patrick Mahomes last week. And I fucking nailed it.
You did. We also told you to sit Matt Ryan. And again, Matt Ryan had a great week against a pretty solid defense, as you were talking about in the Saints. Cordero Patterson got shut down by the Saints and made us look bad. Laviska Shenault, we told you was a bust, and he proved to be a bust even in a Jacksonville win. And FanDuel Fee's Fool's Gold, Chris Uzama, it proved to be Fool's Gold. So let's start with quarterback this week. Dutton, who you sitting?
I'm sitting Jalen Hurts. You all know how I feel about him, and I know you all tell me he's a good fantasy quarterback, but I'm telling you, defenses are starting to figure him out, and the points are trickling down. And I know longtime listener Anthony doesn't trust that Broncos defense, but they just pretty much shut out the Cowboys. So
he did text me, longtime listener Anthony texted me while the Denver defense was going, and he said I may be wrong. I don't think one game a season makes.
No, it's not. But that defense is playing well, and I don't trust Jalen. I just don't trust Jalen Hurts as a quarterback.
Yeah. Tannehill. I mean,
too much vodka there, Wayne.
Really not. It's not even. I'm doing it for ambiance. I haven't.
It was fun though.
You can see there's still so much in there.
Yeah. Go ahead, Fee.
I'm sitting Ryan Tannehill against the Saints. I've talked about how the Saints have a very good defense, especially against the pass. And I just don't like Tannehill to put up a decent stat line this week.
Just so you all know, I wanted to sit him last week, and he went off. So be careful.
But let's face reality. In the reality of it, Tannehill's
Right.
a manager, right? He's not there to win you ball games. And if they can get a lead against the Saints, they're going to figure out a way to slow it down and not give him the ball.
To be fair, he's a very underrated quarterback.
I agree.
He's definitely proven.
He's not flashy. He's
he's not flashy, but he's proven that he can get the job done and decently too.
Yeah.
Like he's more than just a game manager. Right?
No, he can throw the ball. He makes he can make all the throws. He's got a good ball too. He throws a really good ball. Like I mean, he's just been overshadowed by Henry, right? I mean, because for so long he just turn around and hand the ball off.
I just think that it's a tough week this week against the Saints. That's
I would agree with that.
I'm gonna tell you to sit. This is gonna a part of a pattern, if you would, but I'm telling you to sit Baker Mayfield. He had a pretty good week last week, fantasy wise, points wise. People are gonna. I'm telling you, there's gonna be buys. There's gonna be injuries. People are gonna be like, I could start Baker Mayfield. If you could find me the last time Baker Mayfield had 2 good weeks in a row, I don't have the time to do that because it would take years of research. But yeah, so Baker Mayfield is that's Fanduel Fee's fool's gold. No, actually, one of my other picks is going to be the true fool's gold of the week. But let's go to who's our guy? I would sit all 3 of those guys. I 100% agree with you on Hurts now. I'm kind of off the Hurts as a guaranteed fantasy good day.
I would absolutely sit Baker.
Yeah, sit Baker.
Okay. So let's go to running back Fee. I'm interested in yours. I know that defense is good, but I kind of like what he's been doing.
Yeah. So Michael Carter has been fantastic over the last couple of weeks, and he's been a very solid running back, and he will continue to be a very solid running back for the Jets team. But I think the Bills defense, while yes, they lost 9-6, they still only gave up 9 points.
Right.
And I understand it was the Jaguars, but the Bills defense is very good. And one of the things that they're really good at is limiting running back catches. And if the Bills are going to be up in this game, the Jets are going to have to throw the ball. And I feel like one of their strengths is guarding the running back out of the backfield. I just think that
we have no idea who's going to be throwing the ball. That's the beauty of this season. We literally have no idea who the Jets are going to play at quarterback this week. None.
Yeah, and that's a problem too. But I think you should probably sit Michael Carter this week.
That's fair. And what happens if the Bills lose to the Jaguars and the Jets on consecutive weeks?
Well, then their Super Bowl odds are going to go way up.
Yeah. And the Buffalo people are really not going to be happy.
Right, there's going to be people falling through tables.
I was just going to say that.
Do it though. Right? Actually, they'll be fine with it in Buffalo because they're just so used to it. They're like, "Yep, that's what we expected." Like we got all excited, and then we came back to earth. Like
but you know what? Even if that would happen, which I don't think it will, but if it did, it wouldn't be the end of the world. The Bills are still going to make the playoffs, and they're still going to be a force to be reckoned with. So, they'll figure it out one way or another. They got too good of a team not to.
Yeah. Dartworth.
I'm sitting Alvin Kamara this week. He's banged up. He's going against a defense that pretty much shut down the greatest show on turf part droit, right? I mean, those Titans, that defense was solid last week.
French there for you.
Yeah, it was good, right? So I'm sitting Alvin Kamara.
I'm sitting Dalvin Cook. How's that guy's head going to be in a game to play a game? He hasn't been very good in the first place this year. Well, by Dalvin Cook standards. And how is anyone going to focus themselves mentally to play a game with everything that's going on against the Chargers, who haven't been terrible against the run? Dalvin Cook's my sit this week. I think you got to sit Carter, though. With the quarterback situation on top of the Bills defense, he is a guy that you have to start under normal circumstances the way
but you start him this week.
Right. So I think that's a good sit. I'm giving you Fanduel Fee's fool's gold this week, and that's going to be I forgot his name. Peoples Jones. Is that
Donovan Peoples Jones?
Yeah.
Donovan Peoples Jones.
He had a monster week fantasy numbers wise. People are going to pick him up, but it was all one catch and a touchdown, right? And again, if you're in the belief that Baker Mayfield is going to be a bust this week against the Patriots defense, which has been pretty good, then his new top receiver, if that's what we want to call him, no receiver had more than 2 catches including running backs, Chubb included, had no more than 2 catches last week. So he did all his damage on 1 catch. I said it last time this guy had a 2 reception, 80-yard, 1 touchdown day, that everyone was going to pick him up and start him. Everyone picked him up and started him. And I think he wound up getting hurt in the first quarter, right? Don't touch this guy. He's too inconsistent at this point. Dutton.
I'm sitting Emmanuel Sanders because I have no idea what the Buffalo Bills are doing with him right now. And maybe that's why they're not winning games. They do not utilize him enough. I don't understand it. He, in the last 2 weeks combined, he has 8 fantasy points. Like, I don't get it. So I'm sitting Emmanuel Sanders for further notice until they figure him out.
That's like Jarvis Landry. Remember, like Jarvis Landry used to get targets out the wazoo, and now they don't even look at him. I don't get it.
Actually, though, he got 11 targets this week and only caught 3 balls.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and I know that because I started him in our league instead of starting Christian Kirk, who threw a 40-yard pass and caught a touchdown.
But let's go back to that. Remember, we talked about Robert Woods, 3 receptions on 9 last week. I think this week was I don't remember. I have the here. I could look actually. I think he was 3 for 7 this week. Is there something wrong with Robert Woods? I'm looking.
I don't know that there's anything wrong with Robert Woods necessarily. I think it just has something to do with the Rams offense and Stafford generally.
No, he had
getting him the ball.
He had 3 drops.
Yeah.
But he had 7 receptions. So I must have looked at it early on and then.
Here's the thing with Robert Woods, though, too, right? Like, remember, like, we were not mad at Robert Woods, but we were talking about the fact that he wasn't getting targets and this and that. And then he had that one game where he got 15 targets or something. So I think it'll come again. So I think Emmanuel Sanders, I just don't know what Josh Allen is doing right now. He is not living up to any expectations fantasy-wise. I don't think he's living up to expectations for general quarterback right now of what the Bills expected this year. So.
Fee, yours is interesting as well.
Yeah. So I went with Mahomes last week. I might as well go with Tyreek Hill this week. It's hard to trust anything that the Chiefs are doing. Tyreek Hill has been doubled all season long. The Chiefs don't have a whole lot outside of him and Travis Kelce. There's no running game to speak of, and Mahomes just hasn't been good. I don't know. I just got to stick Tyreek Hill. I know they're playing the Raiders. The Raiders actually have been fairly decent against the pass. If they stick to the game plan that everybody else has done and taking him out of the game, I think you got to sit Tyreek Hill this week.
Yeah. So who do we think?
Like I said, I'm going bold.
I don't mind saying to sit Tyreek Hill.
I don't either. I think it's everything you said, Fiamano, I agree with everything because there's something wrong with the Chiefs. I mean, yeah, they beat the Packers last week, but did they really beat the Packers? They beat the Packers JV team, right? Like, and
at some point they're gonna break out.
Are they?
I just don't think it's this week.
I don't know if they are. I think defenses have figured them out. I think there's enough tape of all their movements on the goal line of, we're going to shovel past to Kelce. We're going to run this, like.
But you don't think that Andy Reid and the coaches there can figure out something else?
I think they can.
I mean, Mahomes is good enough that they can do something else.
It's all on the offensive line.
Right. I think they can, but I think they have to be able to buy time from Mahomes if they're going to run new plays and new formation.
Well, then they need to do screens. They need to roll. They need to roll them out of the pocket. They just need to get them, away from defenses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Tyreek Hill, that works. Dutton, I'm going to let you start tight end because I don't like that you picked him. And I might actually switch my start because anytime any one of us has picked him as a sit, he's been the start of the week.
I'm sitting Hawkinson this week. I'm sitting him. He's sitting against the Steelers. One, because Freiermuth is going to have a big game against him. It's going to be fun to watch. And 2, I don't trust Jared Goff. The Steelers defense is solid. And yeah, I'm sitting TJ Hawkins.
Okay. First, before we go on, go back and switch my start. My start of the week at tight end is TJ Hawkinson. I want to be on.
Just put a slash there. Just put slash TJ.
Fee, you know that I 100% agree with yours because I would never even draft this guy. So go ahead.
So the tight end position is just a disaster. And so I was going through it earlier, trying to think about who my starts and sits were going to be for tight end. And like, there's just nobody out there. And so I picked the guy that I thought, I was like, all right, there's no way that this guy's going to have it do anything this week. And that's Jared Cook against the Vikings. And you got to sit someone. I'm going to sit Jared Cook.
Yeah. I mean, and even last week, a Chargers tight end finally had a good game, and it was I don't even know it was S. Alexander, right? Who was that guy?
I don't know.
So yeah, Jared Cook is a non-factor. He was too old when he got there. Anyway, I'm going with Dutton's boy, and I think it's time you got to sit Mo Ali Cox. His targets are going down. He's getting to one. Here you go. One catch, 26 yards. That's his day. One catch, 20.
Does he get a touchdown?
No, I would tell you if he could get a touchdown, I would tell you to start him. But that's it. One catch, 26 yards, Ali Cox. And that would be my sit. I'm good sitting Cook, like I said.
Yeah, the sit. I'll sit him.
Okay, so quick review there. Baker is your consensus sit at quarterback, Michael Carter at running back, Tyreek Hill at wide receiver, Jared Cook at tight end. And then our going back real quick, we're going to tell you to take the Falcons getting 9 points against the joke of a Cowboys team against that Broncos. Look, Cowboys have to go out and win this game by 30, right? If they don't, then there's something wrong in the water somewhere. But that's all we have for this week. Did we forget anything?
No, but I have a question for both of you. Random question for both of you. Putting you on the spot. Best team in the NFL right now.
There is none.
We have to answer. There's got to be a number one team. Who would you be if we're seed an NCAA tournament? Who would you seed as the number one overall seed?
That's a really hard question,
right?
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to stick with the Bills. I think. I know they haven't been playing great right now, but it's the middle of the season, and I just think that they have one of the best teams. Because I feel like a lot has to do with defense, and you can have a really great offense. If you don't have a good defense, you're not going to get very far. And the Bills have both, and I know that they're not playing well right now, but I feel like their defense is good enough that they can take them pretty far. So I think I'd have to go with the Bills. I can't say the Packers. Packers don't have a great defense.
They have too much.
I know their offense is good, and if they got Beckham, it would make them even better. But I think I got to go with the Bills.
I think I got to go Bucks. I think a healthy Bucks are still a team to beat. They do have a defense. Granted, it is infinitely better against the run than it is against the pass. But
defense is getting healthy. Like their secondary is they get guys starting to come back this week, which yeah.
But I'm not going to go against Brady. I'm certainly not going to take a guy that's close to the Jaguars.
There's no team in the NFC that can touch the Bucks right now.
Right.
I mean, maybe the Rams if they can figure it out.
They already beat them.
They did already beat them. I mean, if anybody, it might be the Rams.
I think that if it came down to it right now, if the Bucks beat the Rams, if the game is in Tampa, if they have to go to LA, they will not win. So it'll be interesting in the playoffs. Like, I think the Bucks really need to have home field advantage to win that game.
Maybe.
Who's the best team in the AFC?
I think it's the Titans.
It might be.
With no Derrick Henry?
Right.
It still might be. Right?
Still, what they on Sunday night doesn't get, like, if my eye test is the last bit of data point I have, watching them Sunday night without Derrick Henry, I was like, wow, this team is still good.
Yeah.
So
I mean, hard to go against the Titans right now when everybody else, there are serious issues everywhere else.
Look who the Titans have beaten, right? They beat the Bills.
Yeah.
Beat the
They
Chiefs.
beat the
Chiefs.
Rams.
Beat the Rams.
It's hard to go against that.
And they have the easiest schedule left when you look at it.
You get to play the Texans and the Jaguars. Like, come on.
Right.
And the Colts aren't that. I mean, the Colts are playing well.
Yeah.
But they're very beatable by a team like the Titans. There's no question.
Is Derrick Henry officially done for the year, or is he can he come back for the playoffs?
He might be able to come back. I think like playoffs, maybe.
Playoffs.
Yeah. Like I think there's a possibility, like an outside chance. Like I don't think he's back regular season, but I think there's a possibility they make a deep run. He might be able to play like second week of playoffs, AFC Championship, Super Bowl, maybe, which would be interesting to have a possibly refreshed, healthy Derrick Henry coming back in the playoffs.
Yeah, that would not be good for the rest of the NFL.
No. All right. See, I told you I'd make you think.
Yeah. No, I like that question because I hadn't really thought about it because it's nauseating to think about when.
Because every week it changes because
Right.
going on what you just saw, and every week you're like, oh, look how good. No, they're not good now.
It's just, I mean, you know what? Another hard question is who's won in, 2022 fantasy drafts?
No.
Is it Jonathan Taylor? Is that who we're looking at as the top overall pick right now? Because that's what he's been playing like the last 5 weeks.
I am. The more I think about that, the more I think that I don't want to take a running back in the first round.
I agree. It's too much of a crapshoot.
I don't know, but if you don't, what do you do? Where do you go? Who do you take? Like, do you just take your number one receiver? I mean, like,
yeah, it's weird.
DeAndre Hopkins hasn't really done a whole lot this year. He was what, second receiver taken off the board?
But he's been hurt as well, right?
Right. But that's what we're talking about with running backs. I mean, like, so where do you go? What do you do?
And that's the other thing this year, fantasy wise. Put Derrick Henry out to the side. Most of our injuries have not been season-ending injuries. They've been, I can't cut this guy from my team because he's going to come back, but I'm keeping him on my team and I can't play him. Christian McCaffrey, everybody knows. Like you kept him on your bench for 4 weeks. Like it's interesting, DeAndre Hopkins. You're not going to cut DeAndre Hopkins.
Right. No, 100% agree.
Nick Chubb has been out for like 2.5 weeks now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and he had a monster week, when he came back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and now he's out with COVID again. So.
And now he has COVID.
And Kareem Hunt is another guy. He's been out. I think he's
been on IR.
All right.
He was out last 3 weeks.
There's a lot going on out there, people. Listeners, pay attention to your rosters.
Yeah. And keep listening, and I'll get the video back up on YouTube. Last week was just too much. But yeah, there's a lot of questions to be answered, and we're going to keep trying to answer them. Maybe with a lot of research, maybe with as much as I did this week. We'll find out next week on another episode of Fantasy Football Breakdown.